My name is Jake Stogdill. I'm from right here in the wilds of southwest Missouri in the Ozark Mountains, and I've been playing music for 27 years, something like that. I don't know. I've never counted it. I started when I was 15. So. Yeah, so I've been working at the store since its genesis, really. We gave birth to it right on my kitchen table. Didn't even have time to get to the hospital. I remember that first accessory order we got, just right there on the kitchen table at the house, and it's just grown from there. And me and my wife are pretty much the overseers of the whole thing. Everything here from inventory management to product pages to customer service, emails, phones, setup, kind of over all that. And then we have people in the other departments that do the majority of the work, but like setup wise, we have a specific setup guy. So I don't do as much setup on hand as I used to, but yeah, my favorite thing about our customers is probably just the shared interest. The whole reason that this store exists is because we all love this stuff, And so our customers, by and large, love it too. Some more than others, but everyone. It's kind of a close-knit community. The passion for the music and everything like that, and the interaction with the customers. That's probably customer-wise. That's probably my favorite part. So, my favorite thing about working here is just the close-knit kind of family environment, and everyone's pretty like-minded. You can speak your mind and at any point during the day, we might have a 15-minute theological discussion about something really deep, and that's by far my favorite part about working here. Then a close second is obviously the music and the instruments, But that first thing, that's something that you can't get anywhere. Just the freedom to, to speak your mind and say things that are important to you without censorship in that regard. My favorite music or bands or artists or that's we could be here for 45 minutes talking about that. My dad was a huge part of me learning to play. He played in a band, so probably the soundtrack to my life in that sense is hearing him and his band early on. And the Dillards were a big influence on that. They were from not far from this area, and actually a couple of them were good friends of mine later in life, and so I was very blessed in that regard. But in a grander scheme of things, Blue Highway was a group that was there very early on for me. Went to Walmart, first cassette tape that I bought with my own money. There was a Blue Highway record. There was the first one they released. And obviously guitar-wise, Tony Rice, but so many others too. Tony was kind of, for me, Tony and Dan Crary were kind of the first two. Just because there was a local guy here, his name's David, and he was a big Dan Crary fan, and he kind of turned me on to that. It's kind of an oral tradition. You kind of learn from talking to other people who are into this stuff. And but from there, guitar-wise, man, there's so many great players. Cody Kilby has always been a big one for me. Kenny Smith in the last few years has been super generous with kind of sharing musical ideas with me from time to time and stuff like that. And I hate to get too specific because I would list literally everybody. I find value in everybody's music, even just the local guy down at the park. If he's doing it, even if it's not technically great, if it's honest, I get something from that, So yeah, so me and my wife were high school sweethearts. Been married for 19 years now. And we've got a 17-year-old daughter as of the time of this video, and a 15-year-old boy. And both of them are super smart, a lot smarter than I ever was, honestly. Very talented in a lot of ways. They're both really artistic. They both play some. My daughter, she's kind of a strummer, singer type right now. And my son's actually quite a good flat picker. My wife played mandolin a little bit early on, and still we'll get it out and we'll jam a little from time to time. Nothing super fancy, just kind of solid chop and some basic leads here or there. But when time permits, we kind of I'll just put it this way: when the power's out at the house, we always have something to do. So Probably my biggest interest in general is just filling my brain with truth. And I find that very rewarding and very, for me, centering. So I'm the type I'm kind of an overthinker, a worrier of sorts, and so if I always have something that I can have my mind on, and be working on learning something, it's just a really good way for me to stay level, and so studying scripture is a big part of that. But anything, even in reading, I'll read a lot, but usually nonfiction. I don't know, that's just kind of what does it for me. And then, just hanging out with Michelle and the kids. I love to go backroading. It's interesting, most of the inspiration I get for tunes that I write will come from geographical locations. That just I don't know what it is, like you're going down this certain road and you got this creek and this bluff, and you kind of know the history of the area, and just a sound, like something will play in your mind, you know what I mean? And so I'll try to harness those little nuggets whenever they're given to me. And I feel like when I listen back to something I've written, I don't even feel like I wrote it, I just found it somewhere, you know what I mean? So anything like that, I'm pretty easy to please, pretty simple-minded. So what kind of experience do I hope customers have when they come here? Not to take for granted, this kind of stuff is something for a lot of people that it's like kind of one of the only things that they have, to look forward to or something. And so I always want them to feel valued and heard and taken care of in that sense, I think in retail especially, it's too easy sometimes for most places, and you don't have to go far to find this out. Go to your local Walmart and you're just another, person through there's not much personal connection, because there's just so much interaction with people all the time. And so we try to focus a lot on that. As far as the store's concerned, just making sure that everyone, especially in an online age, it's really easy for people to feel like they're not getting the in-store experience, like if they were to walk into a music store. And what we do here is to try to make that feel as authentic as possible. Someone emails or calls, or even just browsing on the website, the way the descriptions are written, the way the pictures are taken, we want them to feel as much like they're actually coming into the store and having a real interaction with someone who's actually trying to get the right thing in their hands, I think that's a big part of it. And another thing is we don't sell anything here that we wouldn't spend our own money on. Everyone that works here is a professional in some regard, some aspect of their, musical abilities or something. And we're pretty strict on that. We've dropped brands before that kind of used to hold the standard and fell off, with quality. We'll do it and we'll send stuff back. Our vendors probably are unhappy with me sometimes because I'm like, look, this thing just isn't as good as this thing usually is and what it needs to be for us to feel right about sending it to a customer. And so I think that's the biggest thing, is just, it doesn't do us any good to do like what you see a lot of other big box stores or music stores doing, which is just kind of a pass the buck. I actually went through a sales training once years ago I won't name the brand, but it was during one of my factory certifications to become a luthier. And part of that was they did a little bit of sales training, and this is a major company, and their philosophy was, it is cheaper to pay the shipping on a return than it is to take the time to make sure it's right in the first place. And that's the business philosophy a lot of people follow in the industry. And I just don't think that does us any favors, because while that may be true on paper, you have an unhappy customer, and that's never good for business. So it's both a moral thing and just a logical thing. It doesn't do us any good if you're unhappy, so that's the short of it, or the long of it, I guess. Currently, right now, my favorite product is about a $7,000 guitar. And if this is just part of the interview where you're getting Christmas ideas, that's the one. So But no, like I said before, everything we carry is stuff that we would buy, you know, given a particular circumstance, you know. Like me personally, being a bluegrass guy, I don't have much use for a small body guitar in any professional application. But if I did, the ones that we carry are the ones that I would be looking at, you know. So really anything. But yeah, if you're just wanting me to grab a guitar and take it home, yeah, that's what I want. I have a favorite thing here for sure, and it's that. So yeah.
Can you say which one it is?
No, but I can look at it. It's a prototype. It's still not announced yet, so
okay.
it probably will be by the time this comes out.
Perfect. We'll
Yeah.
tag it.
Okay, yeah.